Car dealers do not want you watching this video. Every single year, they push older buyers toward the same overpriced, oversized, overcomplicated vehicles, loaded with touchscreens nobody asked for, and price tags that make no sense for someone who just wants to get to the grocery store and back safely. But there is a small handful of cars sitting quietly on lots right now, ignored by almost everyone, that happen to be nearly perfect for senior drivers. Easy to get in and out of, easy to see out of, easy on the wallet, and nobody is buying them. Today, we're counting down 5 of the most overlooked, dirt-cheap cars on the market that deserve a serious second look, starting with number 5, Mitsubishi Mirage. Let's start with a car that has been the butt of jokes in the automotive world for years, and honestly, that reputation is exactly why it's such a hidden gem for the right buyer, the Mitsubishi Mirage. For most of its life on sale, the Mirage held the title of the cheapest new car in America, and it earned that title by stripping away almost everything that makes modern cars complicated. A small, simple engine, a basic automatic transmission. No confusing drive modes, no unnecessary electronic gadgets fighting for your attention, no massive vertical touchscreen demanding you dig through 6 layers of menus just to change the radio station. Just a small, light, easy-to-drive hatchback that sips fuel and rarely breaks down. Mitsubishi has since wound down production of the Mirage, which means dealers are sitting on remaining new and lightly used inventory that they are often desperate to move, frequently with steep discounts attached, and in some cases with additional manufacturer incentives stacked on top, just to clear the lot before the model disappears from showrooms entirely. That makes right now one of the best windows to grab one before they're gone for good, and it's a window that will close permanently once the last units sell through, likely pushing used prices upward once word gets around. Here's why this car in particular makes so much sense for senior drivers. First, the size. The Mirage is small and light, which means tight parking spaces, narrow garages, cramped condo parking structures, and busy shopping center lots all stop being stressful. You can slide into a spot that would make a full-size sedan or SUV driver sweat, and you can do it without needing a backup camera to hold your hand through the process, although most trims include one anyway as a nice bonus. Second, visibility. Because the car is so compact and the greenhouse, that's the glass area, is so large relative to the body, sightlines out of the Mirage are excellent. You're not straining to see over a high dashboard or peering around thick pillars the way you would in a lot of modern SUVs that prioritize styling over sightlines. Third, and maybe most importantly, simplicity. There is very little to learn or fumble with in the Mirage. No overly sensitive touchscreen menus, no confusing array of driving modes, no steering wheel bristling with a dozen unlabeled buttons that require a manual to decode. Turn the key, put it in drive, and go. The same way it's worked for generations of drivers before all this extra complexity crept into the industry. Fuel economy is another huge selling point, regularly rated among the best of any gas-only car sold in the US, which matters enormously for anyone on a fixed income who still wants the freedom to drive regularly without watching every gallon at the pump like a hawk. Maintenance costs are famously low too, since the small 3-cylinder engine and simple mechanical layout mean fewer things to go wrong and cheaper parts when something eventually does need replacing. Insurance premiums also tend to land on the lower end for the Mirage, since it's inexpensive to repair and doesn't carry the higher value price tag that pushes premiums up on newer, tech-laden vehicles, a real consideration for retirees managing a fixed monthly budget where every recurring cost matters. There's also something worth mentioning about parts availability and independent mechanic familiarity. Because the Mirage uses such a straightforward mechanical layout, almost any local shop can service it without needing specialized dealer diagnostic equipment, which means you're not locked into paying dealership labor rates for basic upkeep. That's a meaningful difference over the life of ownership, especially for someone who wants to keep a car running reliably for 8, 10, or even 15 years without constantly worrying about repair bills eating into retirement savings. Is it thrilling to drive? Not even a little. Is it going to win any beauty contests or impress the neighbors? Definitely not. But if what you actually want is a reliable, cheap, easy to see out of, easy to park car that will not ask anything complicated of you, and that will let you keep driving comfortably and confidently for years without a huge financial commitment, the Mirage might be one of the smartest overlooked buys on this entire list. That practical, no-nonsense value is exactly why it earns the number 5 spot. 4. Hyundai Venue. Number 4 brings us to the current cheapest new vehicle sold in America, a little crossover that gets completely overshadowed by flashier options in Hyundai's own lineup, the Hyundai Venue. The Venue exists in a strange spot. It's not exciting, it's not particularly powerful. It doesn't have a huge dramatic touchscreen or a long list of headline-grabbing features you'd see plastered across a glossy brochure. And because of that, plenty of shoppers walk right past it toward a Tucson or a Kona instead, assuming that spending more automatically means getting something better suited to their needs. But that's exactly the mistake, because for a senior driver specifically, almost everything the Venue lacks in excitement, it makes up for in genuine, practical, everyday usability that actually matters once you're living with the car day after day. Start with the seating position. Unlike a low-slung sedan where you have to drop down into the seat and then hoist yourself back up using the door frame and steering wheel for leverage, the Venue sits up higher, crossover style, which makes getting in and out dramatically easier on the hips, knees, and back. That single difference, a taller ride height with a more open door aperture, is one of the most requested features from older drivers and their families when shopping for a next vehicle, and it's something a lot of cheap sedans simply cannot offer, no matter how good their other qualities might be. Occupational therapists who work with older adults on driving independence often point to exactly this kind of seat height as one of the biggest quality of life factors in a daily vehicle. Then there's the visibility. The Venue's compact footprint combined with a tall greenhouse and relatively thin pillars means excellent outward sightlines in every direction, making it far less stressful to judge distances when parking, backing out of a driveway, checking blind spots before a lane change, or merging into busy traffic. And even at its rock-bottom starting price, the Venue comes packed with a genuinely long list of standard safety features, giving buyers real peace of mind without forcing them to pay extra for equipment that should arguably be standard on every car anyway, regardless of price point. That includes forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, and lane keeping assistance right out of the gate, technology that would have cost thousands extra as an option package just a few years ago. Under the hood, don't expect any thrills. A modest 4-cylinder engine paired with a continuously variable transmission means the Venue is happy cruising around town rather than blasting onto the highway or racing away from stoplights. But for the kind of local, low-stress driving that makes up the bulk of most senior drivers' routines, trips to the pharmacy, the doctor's office, the grocery store, the hair salon, visiting grandkids across town, that's more than enough power and more than enough car for the job. Combine that with a price tag that undercuts nearly every other new vehicle sold in the country, plus a comprehensive warranty that Hyundai has long used as a selling point against competitors, covering both the powertrain and the overall vehicle for an unusually long stretch, and you've got a genuinely smart, practical choice that most shoppers simply never even test drive. Cargo space deserves a mention too. Despite its small footprint, the Venue's boxy rear hatch design swallows a surprising amount of gear, more than enough for a couple weeks of groceries, a folded walker, or a set of golf clubs, all without needing to fold the rear seats down. That combination of affordability, comfort, safety, and everyday usability is exactly why the Venue lands at number 4. 3. Kia Soul.
Sliding into the number 3 spot, we've got a car that built an entire cult following over more than a decade, only to quietly get pushed out of Kia's American lineup because sales simply couldn't keep up with flashier, more heavily marketed crossovers, the Kia Soul. If you've never spent time in one, the Soul's boxy, upright shape might look a little odd at first glance, almost like a small delivery van that shrunk in the wash. But that unusual shape is precisely what makes it such a phenomenal fit for older drivers, and honestly, for anyone who values function over flash. The tall roofline and nearly vertical door openings create one of the easiest entry and exit experiences of any vehicle at this price point. You're not ducking down or twisting awkwardly the way you would climbing into a coupe-styled crossover. You're basically stepping directly into an upright seat, almost like sitting down into a chair at your kitchen table. For anyone with knee replacements, hip issues, or general mobility concerns, that difference in entry angle can genuinely change how comfortable and painless daily driving feels, day after day, trip after trip. That same boxy shape also delivers some of the best outward visibility you'll find in an affordable car. Huge windows, a tall greenhouse, and a commanding view of the road ahead make the Soul remarkably easy and stress-free to drive, whether you're navigating a crowded parking lot, keeping an eye on cyclists and pedestrians in town, or simply trying to judge exactly where the corners of your car are while squeezing into a tight spot between two oversized trucks. Inside, the cabin feels far roomier than the car's compact exterior dimensions would suggest, with plenty of headroom even for taller passengers, a comfortable upright seating position that many drivers find easier on the back over long stretches, and a dashboard layout that Kia has generally kept clean and straightforward, rather than burying every function inside layers of touchscreen menus that require a manual to decode.
Rear seat and cargo access also deserve real praise here. The wide-opening rear doors and low-load floor make it easy to load groceries, medical equipment, or help a grandchild in and out of a car seat without contorting yourself into awkward positions.
It's the kind of practical, thoughtful design that doesn't show up on a spec sheet but makes a genuine difference every single time you use the car. Because Kia has wound the Soul down in the US market, remaining new inventory is increasingly limited, but that also means dealers are frequently motivated to negotiate hard just to clear out the last examples, and the used market is loaded with well-cared-for units at bargain prices, since the Soul has built a long track record of solid reliability and reasonable repair costs. Parts are widely available, independent mechanics know the platform well after more than a decade on the road, and resale value has historically held up reasonably well given how beloved the nameplate became among a loyal customer base. For a senior shopper who wants something easy to climb into, easy to see out of, spacious enough for groceries, grandkids, a wheelchair or a walker in the back seat or cargo area, and cheap enough to not stress the monthly budget, the Soul checks an enormous number of boxes that flashier, more popular crossovers simply don't bother addressing. That perfect blend of practicality and overlooked value is exactly why it earns the number 3 spot.
2. Toyota Corolla, non-hybrid LE. Number 2 brings us to one of the best-known nameplates in the entire automotive industry, but hiding inside a specific, often ignored version of it, the non-hybrid 2026 Toyota Corolla LE sedan. Here's the thing about the Corolla. Almost everyone has heard of it. Almost everyone knows it has a sterling reputation for reliability, built up over decades of word-of-mouth recommendations passed down through families, often from a parent or grandparent who drove one for 2 decades without a single major issue. But when most shoppers think Corolla these days, they immediately jump to the hybrid version, chasing the best possible fuel economy numbers and bragging rights at the gas station. That leaves the standard non-hybrid LE sitting quietly on lots, overlooked, even though it happens to be the single cheapest model Toyota sells in the entire United States, and arguably the most straightforward one too. Why does that matter for a senior driver specifically? For starters, simplicity and lower complexity under the hood. A traditional gas engine paired with a straightforward, continuously variable transmission means fewer complex hybrid components, battery packs, electric motors, regenerative braking systems, to eventually wear out or need specialized, expensive service down the road at a dealership rather than your regular neighborhood mechanic. That translates into lower long-term maintenance costs and fewer trips to a dealership for anything beyond routine oil changes, tire rotations, and the occasional brake job, work that virtually any shop in town can handle without specialized training. Then there's the Corolla's legendary reliability record, built up over literally decades of real-world use by millions of owners across every possible climate and driving condition, from desert heat to New England winters. This is not a car with question marks hanging over its long-term dependability. It's about as close to a known quantity as you can get in the automotive world, which brings enormous peace of mind to a buyer who wants a car that will simply start every morning without drama for years to come, without surprise repair bills popping up out of nowhere and disrupting a carefully planned retirement budget. The Corolla also comes standard with a comprehensive suite of active safety features as part of Toyota's standard safety suite across nearly the entire lineup, including forward collision warning with pedestrian detection, lane departure alerts, and automatic high beams. Technology that used to be reserved for expensive luxury trims just a decade ago and is now standard even on the cheapest trim level available. Add in a comfortable, easy-to-use interior with legible, clearly labeled gauges and straightforward physical controls, rather than everything buried inside a finicky touchscreen that demands you take your eyes off the road just to adjust the temperature, and you've got a car that's genuinely pleasant and low stress to live with day to day, year after year. Resale value is another quiet advantage worth mentioning. Corollas have historically held their value better than almost any other compact car on the market, which means if circumstances ever change down the road, whether that's needing a different type of vehicle or handing the car down to a family member, you're not looking at the steep depreciation curve that hits a lot of other budget-friendly cars. It won't win any excitement contests, and it won't turn heads in a parking lot or spark conversation at a dinner party. But rock-bottom pricing, best-in-class reliability, comprehensive standard safety tech, and mechanical simplicity make the non-hybrid Corolla LE an incredibly smart, overlooked choice for a senior driver who wants dependability above everything else, and who would rather spend money on grandkids than on unexpected repair bills. That unbeatable combination of trust and value is exactly why it earns the number 2 spot. 1. Nissan Kicks. And here we are, the number 1 dirt cheap, criminally overlooked car on our entire list, perfect for senior drivers, the redesigned Nissan Kicks. The Kicks occupies a strange space in Nissan's lineup. It's not as flashy as the Rogue, it's not a household name the way the Sentra is, and plenty of shoppers walk right past it on the lot without a second thought, assuming it's just a smaller, cheaper, less capable version of Nissan's more popular crossovers. That's a genuine shame, because the redesigned Kicks might be one of the single best-rounded packages for an older driver on the entire cheap car market today. Interior space is generous for the car's compact footprint, with a surprisingly large cabin and a trunk big enough to comfortably fit larger items, plenty of room for groceries, luggage for a weekend trip to see family, or medical equipment like a walker or folding wheelchair that needs to come along on every outing without a struggle to make it fit. Outward visibility is excellent thanks to a tall seating position and a greenhouse designed with clear sightlines in mind, making the Kicks easy and low stress to drive in crowded parking lots, unfamiliar neighborhoods, or busy hospital and pharmacy parking structures where every inch and every angle counts. For anyone living somewhere with real winters, the Kicks also offers an available all-wheel drive system for a modest additional cost over the front-wheel drive base model, delivering meaningfully better traction and confidence on snow or ice, without needing to step up to a much more expensive vehicle just to get that peace of mind. That's a genuinely rare feature to find at this price point, and it could be the difference between confidently driving to a doctor's appointment during a snowstorm or deciding to stay home and cancel, missing an appointment that actually mattered, simply because the roads looked a little too slick to risk it. Add in a nicely upgraded interior with soft-touch materials that feel a class above the price tag, a straightforward and easy-to-navigate infotainment system that doesn't require a computer science degree to operate. There's even a well-regarded, available premium stereo option for anyone who wants to enjoy a favorite radio station or audiobook on a long drive without the tinny, thin sound so common in budget vehicles. That complete package of comfort, practicality, and affordability, wrapped inside a car most shoppers completely overlook on their way to something bigger and pricier, is exactly why the Nissan Kicks takes the number 1 spot on our list. And there you have it, 5 dirt-cheap, completely overlooked cars that happen to be nearly perfect fits for senior drivers, from the ultra-simple Mitsubishi Mirage all the way up to the surprisingly comfortable Nissan Kicks. None of these cars are flashy. None of them are going to impress anyone in a parking lot, but every single one of them nails the things that actually matter: easy entry and exit, great visibility, low running costs, and genuine peace of mind. If you or someone you love is shopping for a car that prioritizes comfort and simplicity over flash, one of these 5 deserves a serious look before you settle for something bigger, pricier, and more complicated than you actually need. Let me know in the comments which one you'd pick, and if this video helped, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. See you!